What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about some crown molding. So I'm down at the kitchen remodel. We're going to start sticking the crown molding up everywhere and getting that part of things all dressed up so we can get the boxes through paint. So I'll give you guys kind of a quick crash course on how to do crown molding on cabinets, and we'll see how everything shakes out. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about crown quick, and then we'll jump into it so you guys understand what I'm talking about when I see things like upside down and backwards. So I have this line, which represents a wall, and the ceiling is somewhere up there, floor down that way. The crown needs to sit like this against the wall with the cove at the bottom and the OG going up towards the top. I've seen lots of times where people go into their houses and they install it this way, which may have a cool look, but if you look at the actual profile, there is more bearing here than there is here. So the crown is designed to go this way. That is the correct way to install it. So that is what we will talk about. Now, when we go to the saw to cut things, we're not going to be cutting them this way like they would be on the wall. We're going to cut them upside down and backwards. So the cove needs to always be to the top of the fence. I've got a couple lines that you can probably see on here, and these are from different crown moldings that I've installed. Most of the time this like 3 1/4 is super common, so that is on the lowest line right there, and what that does is that line is just a nice reference for me as to the crown sitting flat against this back fence. So this is also when it's important to kind of double check everything and make sure that your saw is square to the fence this way and also square to the base this way. I kind of checked everything out on this morning with the little square, and everything looks really good, so we're going to run with it. So when we talk about cutting crown, we'll be always cutting it upside down and backwards, and these are my reference lines. Eventually I would like to build a provision. I left some room here on either side so I can build a provision for a crown stop, and what that would do is be a piece that comes across the front that will always situate the crown in the correct orientation up against the fence here. So that may be coming soon, but not in this video. We'll just be holding it nicely against the fence. So first things first, a good habit to get into is to give this a nice clean cut at the end. What do I do with the one? Here it is. You can see on this guy there's some fugly paint stuff and a little chip and whatnot. So clean up the end of your cut first, then pull your measurement. In this case, it's 103 3/8. So I have a tick mark there. And because we're cutting this upside down and backwards, we need an outside miter over here, which means that the board is going to get cut. The sawtooth is going, here, let's see if we can zoom in. The sawtooth is going to be on this side of the line, and we're going to cut our miter this way. So take the saw, set it over to 45, and then we will hold it up in here, get it lined up, and make our cut. I'm not going to do that on camera because I only have 2 hands. All right, so our first piece starts at the wall on the right side, nice and clean. It'll come down over the refrigerator and the cabinet to an outside miter and then duck back to the normal 12-inch uppers. So that is our outside miter. Now we can go inside. We can get this one hung up. First piece up. Let's go back to the saw. I have some repair work to be done. A little tighter than, I should have probably just taken it out and taken like a 16th off, but I'll just repair that drywall over there I messed up and we'll be fine. So, moving on. So our next piece, we need to make the other half of the outside miter. So we'll start by swinging the saw to the other 45, which the vacuum hose is in my way, and then we'll cut this piece. Then we will measure 11 7/8 from the point here The shortest point on the saw will measure 11 7/8, and we'll cut the same thing again for the inside miter to go down the next run. So a quick little trick for measuring off of the point that is kind of hard to measure to. A lot of times I will move it over and hold it flush to the end of my bench, and then I can measure out. I need 11 7/8 on this one, and I might give it just a little extra so that I can cut it, fit it. If it's a little tight, we can take a trim, and then it'll be ready to roll. So as predicted, we are just a little bit long, but the piece is cut in the correct orientation. So we will go ahead, trim her down, then refit and pin it all together. We'll slap a little glue in this outside corner as well. So when working up in the air like that, the best glue that I found is this stuff from Tight Bond. It is their no run, no drip molding and trim glue. It's a little bit more expensive than like Tight Bond 2 or something like that. That is my typical go-to for most projects. But I can literally slap this on that outside miter. Don't have to worry about it dripping down the cabinet. Super easy to clean up. Still a water-based cleanup, so I can just wet a paper towel, wipe it up, ready for paint. All right, so that's the outside corner. Got good squeeze out on the back. We had plenty out the front as well. And then now we will go ahead and work this next run here, which will be a double inside miter. So both cuts will look like this. Let me take a measurement and then let's go out to the saw. So we are into a new 8-foot stick of crown, and we know that we need the inside miter. So we're gonna go ahead and put the cove up. So we cut upside down and backwards, and we'll do our clean cut and our first inside miter all in one slice. We can pull our measurement from, on this case, long point to long point, swap the saw the other direction, make our other cut, and then we will have the next piece. We're having some puppy dreams in the background. All right, this one is really good friction fit. We'll go ahead and pull it out and put a little glue back here. This guy just needs a little persuasion, and that is very nice and clean. So we'll go ahead and pull this, put some glue on it. We'll run pins in the front. I'm doing all this with 23 gauge pins. And then because of the height here, I can actually reach behind, and I'll put a couple pins stitching that inside miter together to make sure that stays really strong and tight. So one thing to mention if you're working one piece at a time, kind of like how I am, instead of trying to cut the whole kitchen and go install it, is that 90% of the time when you leave here with a piece, you can always flip it the other way, and that'll give you the start of the next piece, which makes the thinking of things upside down and backwards a little less confusing. So my last one was an inside miter. This right now is an outside miter, so when we flip it 45 degrees from my last cut, it'll give me my first cut to start my next piece. All right, guys, so that was a quick crash course on how to install crown molding on kitchen cabinets. It gets a little bit different when you try and do it in a room because the spring angle can get messed up really easy. And when the spring angle gets messed up where you're trying to fit the crown to the wall and the ceiling, it's really easy to have all your inside and outside corners not fit well. So one thing you can do to help with that is to make sure you stay very consistent on your miter saw, and that'll help with making sure those inside and outside corners stay nice and tight. When working on cabinets, it's really easy to manipulate it a little bit and wiggle it around and then pin it all together. So working on crown off of cabinets is usually a little easier to do. But anyway, I hope that helps. If there's anything that you guys have questions about, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below. If it's easy enough to address in a comment, I'll do that. And if not, maybe we'll do another crash course and we'll go a little bit more in depth on how to do crown molding. Either way, whatever works. Once again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.